December 1950. Jet fighters roar across the skies above Korea. For half a century, dogfights have been won or lost with propeller planes driven by piston engines. Now, for the first time in history, swept-wing fighters with jet engines slug it out at extreme altitudes and near supersonic speeds. American F-86 Sabres head-to-head against the communist MiGs. Their contrails will write a new chapter in the annals of air warfare, in a place called Mig Alley. Experience the battle, dissect the tactics, relive the dogfights. August 5th, 1952. 4 U.S. Air Force F-86 Sabres move into the hostile skies of Mig Alley above northwest Korea. For over 2 years, nimble Russian-built MiG-15 fighters have been darting from sanctuaries in China, challenging American bombers and fighters. The Sabre flight is led by Captain Robinson Reisner. His mission is to find the MiGs and kill them. All eyes are outside the cockpit, scanning, searching for a contrail, a telltale flash of metal. Suddenly, there they are. 8 silver MiGs passing left to right, 1,000 feet below. Perfect setup. Too perfect. Reisner calls a hard break into the MiGs.
Being a typical fighter pilot, flying that wonderful F-86, we weren't really concerned about these guys. We didn't want them to hit us, though. So we broke into them, made a high G turn into them.
The abrupt maneuver derails the ambush. 2 MiGs overshoot and streak by. The F-86s reverse. As the MiGs dive at the Americans, the Sabres make a hard climbing turn directly into them. The MiGs overshoot. The Sabres then reverse their direction, putting them on their attackers' 6 o'clock. The tables have turned within seconds, the hallmark of jet-age combat in Mig Alley.
I took Taylor and Charlie because he's the closest one to me. And I put the pepper on the tailpipe, pulled the triggers. He lit up like a Christmas tree. You see, we had armor-piercing incendiary bullets in those 650 caliber machine guns.
The burst riddles the bandit's engine. The MiG pulls into a climbing turn in a desperate attempt to shake his tormentor. Trailing smoke, the MiG claws for altitude. The smoke suddenly stops. His engine quits. The MiG coasts upward, bleeding off airspeed. Reisner's F-86 shudders as he chops power and pops his speed brakes to stay in trail. The MiG hangs suspended, motionless, then drops off into a spin. The F-86 buffets as it too loses energy and enters a stall. Reisner kicks in left rudder, noses over, fires another burst into the spiraling MiG, only 300 feet away.
It was a thrill to hear those guns chattering, because something was going to happen up in front, and sure enough it did.
50 caliber armor-piercing incendiary rounds slam into the MiG's aft fuselage. The vertical stabilizer is blown clear away. The MiG pilot ejects. The fight is over. It is Reisner's first kill. Down again in the riverbed. The MiG chops power. Reisner reacts instinctively to slow with the MiG.
I coasted right up beside him, wingtip to wingtip. I looked into his cockpit. He looked into my cockpit. He raised his fist and shook it at me, and I thought, man, this is like the movies.
But it's not a movie. The MiG suddenly banks to the right. Reisner is snapped back to the moment. Black puffs of anti-aircraft fire fill the sky. The honcho has led them directly over a Chinese airbase. The MiG's wing is shredded by the Saber's guns. His only chance for survival is to land immediately, forcing or spiking the jet onto the ground, and hope for the best. Reisner has another idea.
He never put his gear down. He made a 180-degree turn, and when he was headed back down, it looked like he was going to land beside the runway, not on the runway, in the grass. Well, I poured all my ammunition into him at that time. Every .50 caliber I had was chattering. He never completely leveled off.
The MiG slams into the ground and explodes. Hot shards of burning metal and debris slice through a line of parked MiGs. Reisner's wingman exults at the fiery spectacle.
And old Joe Logan was so enthusiastic, he said, "Hey, Lead, you just destroyed their Air Force." What a wonderful sight.
The whole engagement has lasted some 5 minutes. The MiG is destroyed, but the mission is far from over. The Sabres must run a gauntlet of deadly radar-controlled anti-aircraft artillery to get across the Yalu and back to home base. Throughout the war, crossing into Chinese airspace was officially forbidden, except in cases of hot pursuit. But aggressive flight leaders routinely violated orders so they could engage the MiGs on their own turf. Cruising for MiGs in Manchuria was conducted within a conspiracy of silence. Flight leaders chose wingmen who would play along and keep quiet. Squadron commanders didn't discuss it, and many rolls of incriminating gun camera film mysteriously disappeared. Leaving a trail of flaming MiG wreckage in their wake, Reisner and his wingman turned south, out of China.